Okay, so in this video, I'm going to walk you through the dashboard of WordPress. It can be a little bit confusing at first, but don't get too overwhelmed. It's pretty easy to learn. And after probably 30 minutes of looking around, you'll have a good sense of how it works. But also in this video, I'll try and get you to that point quicker. So as a starting point, if you look up in the top left, you can hover over the name of your site and then hit Visit Site, and that's actually going to take you to the front end of your site. Now here, if you hit Visit Site and there's a Coming Soon page up, sometimes the Coming Soon page shows, and all you have to do is just hit refresh here, and it should refresh and take you into your site. So that's just a little bug that sometimes pops up, but it's easy to fix. So yeah, here's my site, and then yeah, you can click around, and that's exactly what the front end of your site looks like. Okay, so then also at the top here, this is a comment section. It relates to blogging. A lot of the items here relate to blogging, and a lot of people don't get seriously into blogging with their sites. They're more focused on business sites. So I won't focus too much on the blogging features, but I'll just mention what they are. Here is sort of a shortcut if you want to add new post or media or page. I generally don't use that, but I guess some people do. But that's if I'm going to add a new page or a new post, I'd usually go in through the menu on the left. These two items relate to plugins that are on the site, so I won't get into them here. And then this is also a plugin, Updraft. This is a really important plugin, and we're going to make a separate video going through how to back up and restore your site. Super useful, and if you have your site up and running for long enough, you'll almost certainly need to restore a backup at some point. So whether you edit something and then realize that you want the past version, or if something were to go wrong with your site, that's a great way of bringing it back up. So that's just a really good plugin, and we'll do a dedicated video on that. Okay, so here there's a dashboard option which just takes you to this screen. This screen I find is not all that useful unless you have specific plugins and you've loaded in specific dashboard items. Like you could have Google Analytics plugin that shows you your analytics, but this isn't something that I find is overly useful. Here you've got updates. So if plugins or the theme have updates available, it'll pop up here with a red, just like this. You'll see a red circle with a number in it, and you can just hit that, and then it'll show you what needs to be updated. And you can just click update, and it'll do it quickly. And it's actually a super quick thing. So here there are no updates, so we're good. But here you would see a message that there's updates for plugins or theme. You can hit update, and a lot of the time it takes like 10 seconds. So yeah, it's quite an easy process. Astra and Jetpack, these just relate to the theme that I've got loaded here and a plugin. So again, I'll skip over those and won't get too much into those. I'm just going to talk about the WordPress core functionality here. Posts. So posts relates to blogging again. And you can see here, you've got all posts, you've got add new post. So that's obviously just to add a new post. And then categories. So this is if you want to get into setting up categories for your blog posts. And then same thing, tags. If you want to add tags to make it easier for search engines and people to search your blog posts on your site. For the majority of people we work with, we find that they don't get too seriously into blogging. And if you are into blogging, you probably know about this stuff as it is. But anyway, this is where you get into your blog posts. Media, this is one way of accessing your media library, which is essentially just photos, videos, graphics, logos that you have loaded on your site. So anything, if you're going to drop in a new graphic or a new photo, then they're gonna show up here. And if you want to access them at any point, that's one way of getting to them. Pages, this is a very important section. This is when I'm working in the back end of WordPress, this is where I find I spend most of my time. So this is the list of the pages on your site. And then you've got a couple options here. You've got edit, which let's see, I'll get into that now actually. I'll come back to that in 1 second. Quick edit is just for changing things. If you want to quickly change the title or the slug, which is the part after the backslash on your site. So if you're on the our story page, your slug would probably be your domain / r-story, for instance. But you can change that. So here you can see the about page. The slug is about. But if I wanted to change that to about us, I could do that here. Then here the status of the page. If you want to put it into draft so that it's no longer showing as public, you can do that. And that's about it. Then you can just hit view to go quickly and view that page. Trash if you had a page that you wanted to get rid of. And then you've got 2 edit options. One is edit with Elementor, which is the page builder that we've got loaded in with this theme. And I'm going to make a separate video about how to edit pages with Elementor. So I won't get into that in this video. But if you are wanting to edit, I'll just show what that looks like. If you're wanting to edit a page and go and actually edit the content of the page, if your site is using the Elementor page builder, then you would hit edit with Elementor. And so that's going to take you into sort of showing you the front end of the site, and then you've got the toolbar on the left to make edits to it. So that's how you would actually go and edit things like photos, content, all that sort of thing, and make changes directly to the page. Now here, this is more for editing. Just the regular edit is more for editing settings on the page. So you probably won't spend a lot of time here. But if you want to make edits to things like SEO, so what shows up when people come across your site on Google, you can edit that here with the Yoast window there. And then things like featured image. So featured image also sometimes shows up on Google when people search. But these are sort of core settings for the page. So again, we don't spend that much time there. Once they're set up, it's not something you find yourself going back to all that often. Okay, comments. This again relates to blogging. If you have posts, then you can set it so people can leave comments. And so that's where you'd go and moderate those. WooCommerce, this will be here if you have shop functionality on your site. We'll make another video that goes into more detail about WooCommerce and how to manage that. But if you don't have shop functionality, you're not going to see that there. Products relates to WooCommerce. So again, if you're not using WooCommerce, I think this doesn't show up. I'm not 100% sure. But in any case, this is where you add products, manage products, and all that sort of thing. Analytics, typically, this is not all that useful because we recommend people check their analytics through Google Analytics, which we sent you the login information for, or you created the login information and we set that up. So that's the best way to look at analytics on your site. Marketing is not really important. Elementor, this just relates to the page builder. So we'll skip over that for now. Templates, these again are core functions that you're probably not going to get into. WP Forms, you may not see that, probably won't see that on your site. That's just a plugin. Appearance is another one of the core settings for WordPress. So if you want to make changes to your theme in terms of, well, we'll go in there, but things like the logo, for instance, if you wanted to edit your logo, this is where you would do it. So you've got options down the side, which I won't go too deeply into. But under global, you can change things like the core colors across a site and that sort of thing. And then site identity is where you would then go and edit your logo if you wanted to. So that's one setting that people sometimes use. That's a more core setting, but can be useful. Okay, and then plugins. This is important. So here, installed plugins just shows you a list of the plugins that are on your site. We've obviously put a set of core free plugins that we find to be some of the best plugins out there. But if you have advanced functionality you want, in a lot of cases, you're going to need a plugin for that. And you can go add plugin, and it takes you here to the WordPress plugin gallery, I guess you'd call it. And then you can search for the plugin and just hit install. And then once it's installed, which takes 15, 20 seconds usually, then you want to hit activate. And then the plugin will show up on the left-hand side there. Okay, and then users, that's just where you manage your users. And I referred to that in a past video. Tools, this is something that you probably won't find yourself using much, if at all. Now, sometimes, I just mentioned this is a core menu item here for WordPress, but sometimes plugins will show up. If you download a new plugin and activate it, the settings will show up in the toolbar or in this tool option. Depending on the plugin, they can show up in a few different places. They may show up under tools, or they may show up under settings. So you can see here, settings has Updraft Plus, which is a plugin we've added. So if you hadn't added Updraft Plus, or if we hadn't added it, it wouldn't be showing up here. But then once you activated it, it shows up there under settings. Then also under settings, you've got general, which are just some of the core WordPress site settings, like your time zone, what you want the name of your site to show up as up here. And I wouldn't fiddle around with these too much unless there's something you really need to change and you know what you're doing. And then the last one down here is just Yoast, which is a plugin. Okay, so that's the introduction to the WordPress dashboard.